Hello and welcome to Beachview, and today we have a podcast about things and stuff, which is what we usually have, but we also have that today.
Yes, a very special thing, and also special stuff that we're going to talk about today.
Oh, what an intro.
Yeah. I like it. All right,
I think it fits with our weird topics.
Well, it does. We're going to talk about cryptids today.
Yes.
That should be exciting. So, let's get into it. Let's talk about it.
Right, so a cryptid, for people who might not know, are like the folklore sort of animal and creature things, like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster are probably the most famous examples, but they're these like sort of anomalous and hidden monster animal things.
Urban legends.
Yes. That
Yeah.
works really well. And I know, like, a lot of people, well, maybe not a lot of people, but some people took them seriously, especially back in the day, that they were like a real thing. You'd get these like Bigfoot hunters or whatever, people looking
Right,
for
people
that.
Still take them seriously. Yes.
Yeah, they still do,
thing.
but I don't think it's as much as they used to. Do you disagree?
I don't know. There's like a whole internet culture around it too, so but there are people who like really believe and try to see like, the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot, all that. There are still people who believe.
Yeah, I guess. It's just most of the time I see it, it's like a fun pop cultural thing, or like just a fun sort of thing to talk about these weird sort of spooky creatures.
Yeah, but there really is like a whole subsect of the internet that deals with this. But I think now, like you're saying, it's kind of more about like creepier UFO type, like, like that's still around. But I think like the creepier like sightings, like what is this thing that we saw, so we'll get into that. But I think it's kind of morphing a little bit. But there's still a lot of people, I think, out there who really love the lore around all of this stuff, but I think it's kind of, there's also newer additions to it,
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some. Okay, what are some noteworthy cryptids to you?
Well, I wanted to add one more thing before, because most of the engagement I see about them are like jokes and like memes about them, because you see a lot of people who like find the concepts cool more than think they're a real thing. Like Mothman was memed about a lot. People would write fun little stories about it or tell jokes.
That's true.
And that's my engagement with it.
Okay, I see like stuff that's like I said, people are like sharing, blurred pictures and what is this, guys? Like that kind of thing. But I also, like, one of my friends is, like, into this sort of thing, so maybe I'm just seeing it from a different perspective. Yeah, actually, one of my friends just did this little, like, embroidery kit, and she made it for her sister, and it's, like, a Bigfoot embroidery, like, it's this little embroidery thing, like a scene of Bigfoot walking. So, like, she and her sister are, like, into that kind of stuff. So, maybe I'm just seeing it from that point of view,
Yeah. Well, I think that makes an interesting contrast.
Yeah, definitely.
So, let's get into them now. Do you have any that you particularly find interesting?
Yeah, well, I was going to talk about the local, like, Louisiana cryptids. So, you know about it because of our family, but do you really know anything about the lore of the rougarou or the loup-garou?
Well, I know it's French for werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. I assume it's some sort of, like, big dog creature that kind of looks like a werewolf.
Yeah. So it started, I think the loup-garou started actually in France. It was like the lore there that is like the big werewolf, and they used to believe that, like, they used to use it, I think Catholics used to use it to keep people in line, like during Lent, if you didn't practice, what you needed to practice during Lent, that the loup-garou would get you. But then when the French migrated to Canada and to South Louisiana, the Acadians that came down, it started turning into the rougarou. So what it is, so here, the local legend is that it's basically a swamp creature. So it's a werewolf-looking creature, but it stands on its leg, like it stands upright. So it's not like, not like a werewolf-looking
bipedal, yeah,
traditional kind of thing. Yes, exactly. So it stands upright and it's all hairy and gross and like vicious looking and like oversized, of course. So it's like this huge swamp creature, and it lives in the swamps. And so like they would tell you, if you're not good, like the Rougarou is gonna get you. Here a lot, I hear it interchanged, Lougarou and Rougarou, but Rougarou is more well known. Like we have beers named after the Rougarou. Like, of course, we name our pets Rougarou or Lougarou. So it's very much a part of the culture here. And even like the Audubon Zoo in New Orleans has a whole exhibit on the Rougarou. And like cool. a big like statue, because they have a whole swamp exhibit. And so the Rougarou is like it's like this big like model of the, like life size model of the Rougarou. So it's kind of cool. So anyway, it's like something we hear about like all through childhood, and it's kind of like, I don't know if y'all had like the Boogeyman or the Lulu Man, it was called, that is like basically this creepy thing that if you weren't good, like it was gonna get you,
Yeah.
So what I thought was interesting about the Rougarou too is that the lore was that if you like to ward off the Rougarou, that this was like, of course, way back in the day, that people would put 13 objects by their front door to keep the Rougarou out of their house, okay? And the superstition was that apparently, like, it couldn't count past 12, okay? Because, and what I read was that they're like, since it was focused on, like, midnight, it couldn't count past 12, which I was like, that doesn't even make sense, but okay. And so if you put 13 objects, like, what they would say was the Rougarou would stop and count the objects, but it would keep getting confused because it can't count past 12, and so it would just sit there like trying to count the objects until the daylight came, and then it would have to run back to its little home. So it's kind of goofy, but I thought that was an interesting part of the lore. Like, what? Like, where'd you get this? And there's some brewery had like a beer, I think it was called like Rougarou and 13 Pennies. So it's still like a part, like that lore still kind of translates over to, like stuff that's happening now. We still recollect that and use it. But that's pretty funny. But that is something that that has been around like since I was a kid, is the Rougarou. And I remember the first time, I think I was doing a crossword puzzle at probably one of our beach trips with the family, and I was like, what's like, I was trying to put in Rougarou and it didn't fit, and Dad's like, no, it's Lougarou. And I was like, what? Like, you're making that up. And then I was like, oh yeah, it is Lougarou. Like I hadn't thought about, it being, I don't know, I guess I never just listened enough. I always thought they were saying Rougarou.
Well, that would be the Cajun French version, right?
Yeah. Well, it was the French version that was started in France, and then when the dialects started changing down here, it turned into Rougarou, that mixed with the Cajun and the English. So anyway, I was just kind of laughing because I was like, oh yeah, Rougarou, same. But I don't know why like that didn't occur to me when I was doing this crossword puzzle. But anyway, so that's part of the childhood, and that's always, I think, a fun one because it's like a local, Cajun legend, and I always like those types of things that, like voodoo, priestess, and, stuff like that are very much part of the culture down here.
Ooh, you came more prepared than I did.
Well, I mean, that's like an easy one because it's like a local one that I've known about for a long time. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's one thing that's cool about cryptids is, the folklore, urban legend aspect, and they end up, like, really tied to a place, like the Jersey Devil or something like that. I was going to say about that counting thing, That's also involved in vampire lore, not exactly like that they can't count past a certain number, but that like some vampire stories they have to compulsively count, so you can distract them if you give them a jar of a bunch of objects.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
Yeah, I think that's a bit more obscure, but I'm also, like, that's, the Count from Sesame Street.
Yeah.
That's, like, where that comes from, I think. And, it's a pun.
Oh, yes. That's cool. I like that. I have another local lore. Do you want me to get into it, or do you want to talk about yours first?
You can get into it if you want.
Okay. I don't know too much about this one. But apparently, like, here in Slidell, there is, I guess it's like a cryptid called Onion Head, okay? I had not heard of this before until my boss told me about it, because, I'm not from Slidell. So it's a hometown, like, little story, and it's about this, so apparently there was this man who used to, like, walk around, like, the railroad tracks and stuff. And I think he was albino. But he had like, something was disfigured on his face. And I'm not sure what had happened to him. I don't know that part of it. But basically, like, he would walk a lot. And people called him Onion Head because it looked like his face was peeling. And I don't know, but he, basically, I feel so bad because this was like a real man, okay? And I feel like he was probably bullied, and, but they called him Onion Head, but the lore is that, like, he haunts the railroad tracks.
Oh, that's more of a ghost story.
Which is so
than
weird.
A cryptid.
Yeah, but it's like he became this, like, it wasn't just like a regular ghost, it was like Onion Head became like the boogeyman. So.
Yeah, I guess.
It wasn't.
I guess.
Yeah, it was more like a boogeyman kind of thing that people were afraid of, but that people would think they would see sightings of him. So I guess it's a little bit of both, but it was terrible. And I think some like kid or young adult had, like, started this whole lore about the Onion Head. And I feel really bad because that poor guy, like, actually existed, and it just turned into this whole lore. So anyway, so that's the other really local one. So
yeah, I think that
there you have it.
I think that's, like, an interesting, like, facet of this. There's sort of an overlap with that and, like, other folklore, supernatural things, like with ghost stories and, like, aliens, sightings, UFO stuff.
Yes.
They share a lot of similarities. In fact, one of my favorite ones is technically not a cryptid and technically an alien, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's get into that.
Yeah, well, that is something I think's interesting about cryptids, is that they're kind of, bordering on supernatural, but they try to be, like, more naturalistic. Like, you have stuff like the Loch Ness Monster, which is, some people theorize, is like a dinosaur that never went extinct.
I read something recently that they said it actually probably was a type of turtle with a really long neck.
Yeah. Could see that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or like, Bigfoot or Sasquatch, which is just like a really big ape.
Yeah.
Although you do get some of them, like Mothman or the Jersey Devil, that are these weird, like, flying creatures. Like the Jersey Devil is more reminiscent of, like, a demon. Like a pop culture idea.
I've never heard
demon.
Of that one.
Oh, really? I don't know much about it other than it's like a dog, goat, winged thing or something. From Jersey.
Dog, goat, winged thing. Okay.
Yeah, and then Mothman, which is one of my favorites, as the name describes, is like part moth, part man. Suppose, like a furry moth has the, like, humanoid body shape, but has a moth face and, like, the big wings.
And okay, so I'm assuming you saw the Mothman Prophecies movie?
No, I've never even heard of that.
What? Okay, so this was probably early 2000s, maybe. And it was like a real, like, kind of creepy supernatural kind of movie about the Mothman prophecy, but I don't remember it. Hey, maybe we could watch that. Yeah, but it was good. So that was the first, like, I had heard of Mothman was from that movie. Yeah, but I don't know, like, what's the lore around? Like, what is he supposed to do? Like,
I don't know. I think it's just, like, sightings. Like, people in, I think, West Virginia or around, like, the Appalachian Range would report seeing, like, the humanoid moth figure.
Yeah.
But my engagement with Mothman's, again, jokes and the fact that it's a striking image. And, a lot of people really like writing jokes about Mothman or talking about Mothman.
Really?
Yeah, there's this one tweet I saw once that I thought was really funny. It was like, I had a dream where I was a lawyer defending Mothman in court who allegedly, like, ran into a lighthouse and broke it. And while I was defending him, he flew up into the courtroom lights.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So every time there's a moth, like, in the house, I always, like, catch it and put it outside. Or anytime, like, one time there was this huge, like, furry moth on my door, and I took a picture of it, and I was like, it's Mothman! And, like, that's the extent of, that's all I have on Mothman. But that movie was pretty good. So I think you should watch it, because it was more along, like, what Mothman did, but I don't know, I can't remember it for the life of me, but anyway, it was pretty good. So I don't ever see anything about Mothman. I just, like I said, from that movie is all I see. So
yeah,
it's been a while. Yeah, interesting.
All right, well, another one of my favorites, which we've talked about this before, is the Fresno Nightcrawlers, which I don't know a ton about, but they're a more recent one. I sent the GIF of them in the chat earlier, if you want to look at them.
All right, let me find this chat, yeah.
They're these little, like, white crawly things. They have 2 legs and a head, and that's it.
Yeah. They're kind of creepy.
Yeah, I think they're neat looking.
Yeah, wait, okay, how did those come about? Like, where did those come from?
Fresno.
Right?
I don't know the lore behind it. I just saw the GIF online one time and thought they were neat. And I've seen some, like,
they're so weird
fan art of them. So
yeah, I've seen those before, like on like Instagram or something, like videos of them. So weird.
It's probably just someone pulling a prank.
Oh yeah, like it's just weird though.
Yeah.
That kind of goes along with, okay, I saw this one recently I think it was in India, and somebody had taken a video. It was like this high traffic area, and it was like going over a bridge. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't.
It was like this white figure, kind of like this, but it looked more like a man/alien, but it was like all white, and it kind of walked like this. And to me, it looked like maybe somebody made an animation, and did that. But it was like eyewitness video, and everybody, like the whole internet was like, oh my gosh, what is that? Like it, I think it made the news and stuff too. They were trying to figure out what this was. And I'm like, this is cool, because it's like it makes you think of those like alien or like Bigfoot sightings,
Yeah.
Or the night crawlers. Or what are they called? Night walkers?
I think night crawlers, but they might also be called night walkers. I don't know.
Yeah, like that. It's just like one of those like real creepy things. I'll have to find it and send it to you.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, you have any others, or?
Let me think about this. Okay, so of course, like Bigfoot, like the normal, like Sasquatch ones. And then like just werewolves in general. I guess, I don't know, is that considered a cryptid?
No, I don't think werewolves are cryptid. They're more like vampires.
Okay.
Do you want me to go while you're thinking?
I think like... Yeah, you go.
Okay, well, so my other one that I had picked out to talk about is the Hopkinsville Goblins, or aliens. That's the second image I sent, was like an artist rendition of them. So there was an incident in 1955 at a farm, which led to like the people that lived there to drive up to the police station, and they claimed that these little things had come out of like some flying saucer UFO type thing and started like attacking them in their house. So they were like shooting at them to defend against them.
Ew.
And they went to the police about it. So the police brought some people The description on Wikipedia was like 4 city police, 5 state troopers, 3 deputy sheriffs, and 4 military police. So they brought some heavy armaments to deal with these. But by the time they got there, there was nothing there. Or, well, obviously there wasn't aliens there to begin with, but...
Yeah. Oh my gosh, they brought all those people out?
Yeah, those little goblin things are the, like their description. They had, they were short, and they had the, weird pointed ears, and they had, little claw-like hands, and those big glowing eyes.
That is so creepy.
Yeah, like I was saying, technically not a cryptid, because it's an alien thing.
Yeah, well, to me, they're kind of one and the same. I mean, I guess to me, but it's still the same kind of, there's this, lore that surrounds it. It's, gets talked about for generations kind of thing, it's like a almost supernatural, I guess, sighting.
Yeah.
I know they're, a different category, but I put them in the same category, yeah.
Well, cryptids are supposed to be, animal things. They're supposed to be, from the earth,
Yeah.
And aliens come from somewhere else, so.
Ooh, that's true. Okay.
And the reason this is my favorite is because, one of my favorites, is because there's a Pokemon based on them, which is the third image I
the one you sent? Yeah.
Yeah, that's called
actually kind of cute. I like it.
The Hopkinsville goblins, but with gemstones. For
I like
eyes
it.
And in the center. Yeah. It's a neat
it's
concept.
Pretty. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I thought of another one.
Alright, let's hear it.
Okay, so there's Native American or Indian. I know that some are offended by Native Americans, some are offended by Indian, so I want to make sure I'm using both terms. But there's there's all kinds of lores around in that culture as well. And so I think it's one of the Native American tribes they call it a skinwalker. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, skinwalkers.
Yeah, which I didn't realize that's what it was called until recently. But basically, so it's kind of like a witch that can turn into any animal. So I thought that was interesting. And I think that's where in the Twilight series, how the Native Americans can become werewolves. It's kind of like that type of thing, but that they basically can become any kind of animal. And then I don't know, how do they change back? I don't know that whole part of it. But anyway, so it sounds like this is something that has been passed down. It's not, how they have healers and stuff. This is supposed to be the opposite of the healers. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But are those people how do you know who is a skinwalker or whatever? How do you know who does that and who sees it? And where do these stories come from, I guess is what I'm trying to say. How did this happen? Why did they think a person became an animal? And I guess it's all the other, lores that it just, it's something that somebody saw and it just becomes a whole thing around it,
Yeah, shapeshifters are...
Do you know anything about that one? Yeah, shapeshifters. Yeah,
those
exactly.
happen in a lot of different, human cultures and stories and stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of cool, though, because I'm ooh, I want to become an animal for a night. Come back. I don't think I'd be prepared for that.
Depends on what animal, really.
Yeah, I guess so.
House cat, you're probably pretty fine, but there's some you probably don't want to be. A squirrel near a road or something like that.
Right, yeah. And I used to watch Vampire Diaries, and they too had the same thing where they would shapeshift into whatever, during the full moon and all that kind of stuff. So I like those ones that still continue, into pop culture. I think it's cool that they started decades ago and they're still a part of what we talk about today,
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. But I think my favorite's always going to be the Rougarou or the Lougarou, just because it's part of home. I mean, I hope it's not part of my home. I better go put my objects by my door.
Well, if Mothman came into your house, would you put him in a cup and let him out?
Yeah, I'd rescue him. You know, I'm a bug rescuer. I don't know if that's a bug, but
yeah,
I would gently lead him outside.
I'm just imagining now, like, you waking up in the middle of the night to a bunch of, like, banging around, and you go out and you see Mothman, like, flying into your ceiling.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, I would freak out. But you know what I also find interesting is that a lot of these are always, like, about men. Like, it's always, like, a man that changes into this, or it's, like, a half man, half beast. Like, and you don't hear a lot about women ones, right?
I mean, I don't think the more animalistic ones necessarily have, like, denoted genders. Like, I don't know if, like, Bigfoot is...
Yeah.
Or, you know, I think some people think there's, like, multiple Sasquatches. They're, like, a species, so...
Oh, there's, like, a lady Sasquatch and a male Sasquatch.
Also, isn't the Loch Ness Monster supposed to be female?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know.
Nessie, right?
Nessie, yeah, they call him Nessie. Yeah, that's right. You're right. Interesting. Okay. Just, you know, was thinking about equality here. I wanted some women things. I like it. I forgot about Nessie. All right. I can't think of any other ones, but I think it's interesting that how, like, I feel like every region probably has their own little, you know.
Yeah, except, like,
Cryptids.
Bigfoot, who's now more or less U.S.-wide thing.
Yeah, exactly. But it's more like a, you know, like a mountain thing, I guess, or like...
Wilderness. You see them, people...
Wilderness.
Like, you can go look up, like, maps of Bigfoot sightings, and it's just everywhere.
Everywhere? Really? I want to see if anybody saw Bigfoot around here.
Maybe not in, like, the deserts, but, like, the map is basically covered. There's, like, spots where they tend to be, you know, more than others, but...
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh, alright. I'm gonna have to go look this up. I'm sure my friend would know. I'm gonna have to call her after this and talk. I should have talked to her before I did this podcast as research. I didn't think about it. I'm gonna have to get her. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, but she's like all into that stuff.
Alright, well.
Which is really funny.
Yeah. Next topic then. Are we done with cryptids?
Alright. I think we are.
Alright, this is also another weird one. I have linked you a joke that you almost certainly don't understand. And I'm going to attempt to explain it to you.
Okay, hold on. Let me look at this. So I have to go to the link, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so it's 3 images.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like anime-looking stuff.
Yes.
And the first one says, light, period. Do you want to play some PS3? The second one says, PS3, question mark. This has to be a test. Surely he knows that the PS3 has no games. And the third one says, as an honor student, I have no time for gaming. Light Yagami might plausibly not know how many games were on PS3, but Kira would, and deliberately feign ignorance. I'm trapped.
So, what does this mean to you? Do you understand it?
Okay, hold on. Let me think about it for a second. Light, do you want to play some PS3? Okay, hold on. PS3. Light on revolution. Let me think about this. It has to be a test. Surely he knows it has no games. And then he says, as an honor student, I have no time for gaming. How many games are on PS3? But Kira would, and deliberately feign ignorance. I'm trapped. So he's not sure. Okay, no, I don't get it. I'm trying to figure it out. Is light okay?
So you're completely in the dark here?
Yeah, like I'm trying to... Light is trapped.
Yes.
Okay, so if light... Wait, hold on.
Well, what's the joke here?
The joke... Okay, PS3 is PlayStation, right?
Yes. You got that much?
I got that much. Okay, he says this has to be a test. He's like, surely no, PS3 has no games. Does it have something to do with, like, the properties of light? No.
Do you give up yet?
Okay, I give up. Tell me. I feel like I was on the cusp.
Well, first, light is a name.
Okay, so it's not like light. Like
yes. It's
okay,
light.
Okay,
light is the guy
name.
with the red hair. This image's name.
Okay.
So this is a nested joke. There's two things that are
oh gosh
in play here. The first being PS3 has no games. That's an old meme. And the second is the scenario. It's a reference to an anime.
Oh, so I totally... Okay, why does PS3 doesn't have games? Like,
okay,
I don't understand
so that is an old meme. The PS3... Actually, hold on. Let me look this up when it came out. So, it came out in 2006, originally. And it was kind of a disaster of a launch. It was priced higher than the Xbox 360, which was their rival console for the time, which came out a year earlier. And it didn't have a good launch lineup. Like, there weren't a ton of, like, really popular games that came out when it first came out. So that's, like, the immediate reference. But there's also, like, a subcultural context here, where there's these things known as console wars, where people, nerds on the internet mostly, will argue about which consoles that are currently out are better. And this happened a lot back in the day with, like, maybe you knew people who were, like, Nintendo kids or Sega kids back in the day.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, like, Nintendo and Sega. And what was the other... Was there another one?
I don't know. That's before my time.
Was it when... I guess when PlayStation
yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But that was... But yeah, people would argue about that. And that... You can still see it some today. It's died down a little, but you'll still sometimes see people arguing about which one's better and other sorts of related issues. But this was definitely a big deal on, like, forums and, you know, website comment sections in the early, in, like, the 2000s when the PlayStation 3 came out. And you'd have people, like, accusing... like this journalist or just random commenter or whatever of being like a Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo fanboy, or like, you know, they were biased and they didn't really like this company's games or console, and people would argue about which one's the best, which one had the best games. It was a whole cultural thing, and the PS3 has no games became mimetic in part because there was like, you know, a grain of truth to it. Obviously, it's hyperbole. It didn't literally have no games. But, you know, it was like either a value judgment, this has nothing worth playing on it, or like a just observation that there's not a lot here compared to other stuff, compared to like the previous consoles like the PlayStation 2, or compared to the Xbox 360, which was its main competitor. And
sounds like a PR problem for PS3.
Yes, and... Again, there was these console war things, so you had a lot of fans who were very enthusiastic about, you know, their chosen console. So it caught on in part because of that, because it was very easy to make fun of your rival in this sense by just saying, you know, PS3 has no games. It would rile them up.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Okay, so that's the part of the joke. Okay, I get that.
I think it's a well-timed joke because this is like an old meme being brought back, I think. You know, it's in the right context with the right time to have a good punch to it, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I like that.
And so the other part, the anime, So this is from a show called Death Note, and the premise of that is that a god of death, or well, the gods of death in this world write down names in a notebook in order to, like, when it's someone's time, they write down a name.
Okay.
In a notebook, and that's how they die. So one of them gets bored and drops down their notebook to Earth, and the person who picks it up is Light Yagami, the red-haired person in this image, and he's a teenager with a god complex, and he gets it, and he's like, I'm gonna kill all the criminals and create a new world with me as God,
Okay.
And the guy with the blue hair is named L, and he's your classic, like, eccentric detective trope, he only meets through a proxy, no one's ever seen his face, he only takes cases that interest him, but he's supposed to be the best. So, Light Yagami goes on his killing spree of writing down criminals' names in notebooks, and he gets the name Kira, which is I don't know the term, but, like, Japanese version of the English word killer.
Oh, okay.
And L gets on the case to try to track him down. And this show's famous for being kind of dramatic. So that's what that's like. The I'm trapped is referencing. Like, there's a famous scene where they're both playing tennis. Some context. L normally doesn't show his face, but he did for this investigation. Like, he started meeting with people because it was, like, that tough of a case. So he meets with Light Yagami, who's secretly Kira, and he suspects that but doesn't know it, so he meets with him to try to, like, get closer to him and, find out whether or not he's actually Kira. And there's this sort of, like, cat and mouse between them as they try to find out information about each other.
Okay. So he's saying, like, it could be Light or it could be Kira. He's not sure which one.
Well, Light is Kira, but he's not...
the same person. Yeah.
He doesn't know that, and he's suspicious of it.
Okay, so that's why he says, but Kira would, and okay. Yeah. Okay, so what's the tennis scene?
Yeah, there's this famous scene where they're playing tennis, and, like, there's an internal monologue where Light's like, should I go for the win? Because if I go for the win, that's something that Kira might do, and he might think I'm Kira. But if I try to purposely, throw the match, then he might also think I'm Kira, because that's something Kira might also do to, throw off suspicion. It's done on this very, like, over-the-top, melodramatic way. Like, there's a lot of gravitas given to this situation of whether or not, like, winning a tennis match is the right thing to do.
Right. Okay, so let me look at this again.
Yeah, it's sort of what you would expect from a teenager with a god complex.
Okay, so it's supposed to be this, like, real easy, like, hey, do you want to play PS3? And then they're like, this must be a test. Like, surely he knows he has no games. And that's part of the joke.
Yes.
Okay, that's the old meme. Okay, and then he says, as an honor student, I have no time for gaming. Light Yagami might plausibly not know how many games were on PS3, but Kira would, and deliberately feign ignorance. I'm trapped. So this is like the over-dramatic, like, ooh, is it Kira? That kind of thing.
He's sort of psyching himself out and, like, thinking about, he could find out I'm Kira with this simple question.
That is so funny. Okay, because there's, like, on this Twitter link that you sent, there's, like, all these comments. So apparently this is, like, a big, like, a big thing. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
So now you get that joke.
I get it. I would not have gotten it. I was sitting there trying to think, like, I was thinking, like, light as in, like, the properties of light.
Yeah, that's
like, I thought it was one of those.
Off.
Yeah. I was like, well, if the light is trapped, then, yeah, no. Yeah, and I didn't realize, like, it was a different guy. Like, the blue hair guy was a different, like, I thought it was just the same person. So, that they would talk to in the first one.
Oh, yeah, the blue hair guy is the same as the black hair guy in the first one. That's,
yeah, it is?
Yeah, that's something the show does during, like, certain moments. Like, again, part of the drama, it highlights them in blue and red.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that genre, so I didn't catch that. That's funny.
Yeah, Light normally
I
has
get it
brown, not red
now.
hair.
Well, I should, like, share this and just, like, make people think that, like, I'm in on the joke. I know this stuff.
Yeah,
and they'd be like, what? Yeah.
This is like, you had to be around for a very specific time period to get this. Well, I guess if you watch Death Note now, you'd get the Death Note part, but...
Yeah. And I didn't watch any of that, and I didn't play PS3, so... And I wasn't in on that whole culture of gaming, so I definitely did not get this. That's funny, though. I like when there's stuff like this that you're just like, what? What does it mean? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can find a bunch of weird jokes if you go on, like, different subcultures and, like, Facebook groups and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the thing some people do. They find, like, you know, specific group Facebooks and, like, find their joke posts and are like, I don't know what this means, but it sounds funny.
I'm gonna start doing that. I like it. I like trying to figure it out. What? And then I'm just so confused. And I'm like, okay, it must be like insider thing that I don't know about.
Yes.
I'm on the outside of it.
Well, now you know that the PS3 has no games.
Nice.
The hottest meme of 2007.
Gosh, I don't even remember 2007. Actually, I do. I'm lying. It was a good year. I went to Italy.
Oh, no.
That's how I remember years. It's like, what trip did I go on that year?
Fair enough.
Yeah, kind of crazy. Yeah. Okay, I like this. That was a good one. I think you gave a good explanation too to someone who has like no background on this. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for, I feel like you're always broadening my cultural horizons. So
I don't know.
Thank you for that. You know what? Yes, I'm going to switch it up, though. I'm going to, like, send you stuff that you wouldn't know that I would know.
Ah,
and then
that could be fun, yeah.
We could do the opposite. I'm going to have to find something. I just, like, I don't know. I guess I assume everybody knows, like, the stuff that I find funny. So I'm going to have to...
dig.
I'm going to have to find something. Yes. I'm going to have to dig into the archives, pull something out. Yeah. Like... yeah, okay. I'm gonna think about this. This is gonna be my assignment.
Oh, okay. Getting homework for your own
find
podcast.
Something for you. Yeah. Well, because I feel like, a lot of the stuff, like the music theory stuff, or like the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared YouTube videos, like this is all stuff that like you're introducing to me that I know nothing about. So I've got to flip the script and do that to you.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, you'll probably be like totally disinterested, but it'll be fun. It'll be awesome. I can't wait.
All right,
yeah.
Well.
All right, that's my homework.
Yeah. Well, I think that's been enough time on this weird episode of Beach View.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't know if explaining some joke about an anime and games culture from like the late 2000s exactly broadens your horizon, but I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Well, it broadened mine, so I appreciate that. And
yeah.
I guess on that note, I'll take us out.
Yep.
All right. By the way, whenever I say I'll take us out, it makes me think of like, when you take somebody out, when you kill them.
Oh, okay.
I don't like that vibe, but yeah, I'm killing the podcast today, but I don't really want to kill it because I'm a lover of all things. So, okay. Well, that has been the Beach View podcast. Thank you once again for listening, and tune in next time for some other interesting or possibly strange conversation. Bye.
Make sure you let out your Mothmen. Bye.
Bye.